Mr. Gilmore, I'm your caddy. My name is Jared Van Snellenberg, and I'm an assistant professor of psychiatry at this Renaissance School of Medicine at Stony Brook. I was 14. It was in the summer of 1995. That was my first role in a feature film. I had done some student films, maybe a little bit of television at that point. I went in and did an initial audition. They asked me to come back later in the week. And when I walked into the room this time, Adam Sandler was there. And he kind of threw me onto the ground, as the opening scene where my character is introduced. And we goofed around a little in the audition. And they seemed to like me for the part. So the rest is history. That was kind of my relationship with Adam, was me getting thrown around. It comes out in the film. I mean, I think it has to be Where Were You on That One, Dip? That was definitely my best reaction shot, and it's the one that sticks with me. It's the one that people yell at me on the street, or they did for 5 or 10 years after the film came out. For a few years after the film, it was a couple times a month probably I'd get recognized on the street. I'll be giving a research presentation somewhere and get introduced as the caddy from Happy Gilmore. It happens. Not really. I mean, if someone has Googled me, there's a lot of content that, is academic and related to my career and my research, but there's always going to be more that isn't. By the time I got to college, I pretty quickly focused in on psychology as the discipline where I wanted to do my undergraduate work. And certainly probably by the end of my sophomore year, I was really gearing up to sort of try for a research career, for the career I've ultimately been able to have. By my senior year, it was just impossible to manage. I couldn't just not show up to TA a course because I wanted to go do an audition. And so I had to make a decision at that time if I wanted to really go for a research career or continue to try to act. It was a tough choice, but ultimately I think I probably made the right one for myself. I run a clinical neuroimaging lab. We study predominantly memory deficits in patients with schizophrenia, as well as other symptoms of schizophrenia. So we're really trying to understand what's going on, what's different in the brain of patients with schizophrenia that leads them to have deficits in their memory, which is a major focus in that disorder because it's probably our best way to help patients improve their lives at this point. It's not widely known, but patients with schizophrenia, one of the biggest things they struggle with in terms of functioning in society is these severe cognitive deficits that can make it very hard for them to hold down a job or remember to go to appointments, and sort of daily life activities are much, much more challenging. And so we're really trying to understand those deficits in order to try and develop new treatments to help patients with schizophrenia. I think it's really important to sort of understand human behavior and have intuitions about human behavior and how people act and why. And fundamentally, that's crucial in acting as well. That there really is sort of, I think, a point of correspondence or some shared, some shared skills there, in the sense of just having kind of a rich understanding of people. Actors really need to be able to do that in order to portray, ultimately someone else on screen, and to really be in the moment when they're performing. And, it plays out differently, but those same sort of intuitions can help you understand, why people are behaving a certain way in an experiment. Yeah, I actually found out, I think the day before, Will Zalatoris outdid expectations on Sunday, and so it got a lot bigger. But I did have a friend who was watching, and so I started getting Facebook messages. Then I started getting emails. Just a lot of people started alerting me to the fact that, and I have to say, Will Zalatoris looks more like me at 14 than I do. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I've actually thought for a little while it'd be hilarious to, reprise something from the film with Adam if I was ever able to get in touch with him. But it would almost be funnier to do it with Will Zalatoris.